Howdy, Space Rangers, Captain Phoenix here. You've probably heard the term X is objectively a mess or Y is an objective masterpiece. Heck, I've done it even myself once too, though in an ironic sense, but we will get on that later. And the video is always about some deranged YouTuber losing their mind over whatever piece of media it is they're talking about to prove a point, right? Well, despite what you see on the screen, that's not me. If you're familiar with my channel, then you know I am not one to go with the crowd. I speak what is on my mind and I explain why something is good or bad according to me. Videos like my Happy Feet review, my covering of Rings of Power Season 2, and heck, even my recent video of Arcane vs Andor are specifically about me going against the crowd to come up with my own interpretation of. I do this because, unlike most film critics, I like to be honest with myself and you guys. I've said this since the beginning, but I created my channel to get my thoughts out there into the void and hopefully get my voice heard. I have never tried to, nor will I ever try to, convince or change someone's opinion about different media. I've always encouraged different perspectives, and for my audience to come to their own conclusions about a piece of media without parroting me or other influencers. So, what is this video about? Well, it's about me going on yet another tangent, this time about something in the real world. There's an increasing number of film critics out there who try to act like their opinion is fact and that you're in the wrong if you don't agree with them. I especially hate the condescending ones who say absolute crap like, it's okay to like something bad as long as you acknowledge it's bad. And it's become a huge problem in film discussion places such as the grifter YouTubers like the Critical Drinker, Star Wars Theory, and Nerdrotic and so on and so forth, and even in other places like the Shifrilla Sub, though then again that's Reddit, so I don't know why I'm surprised. Like, are people not allowed to think bad stuff is good? Is art not subjective? Why can't people be allowed to enjoy things, especially when they have reason to? Where did this whole objective opinion thing even come from? Like, I never understood that statement that these clearly disingenuous people use to shield themselves. If you truly believe every opinion is valid, then why do you turn around and be condescending saying X is objectively bad, but it's okay if you like it as long as you admit it? If the other person genuinely thought X was good and had arguments to back up that statement, are they suddenly objectively correct? Or are they still wrong because their opinion is different than yours and you can't admit that tastes are subjective? You might as well say the quiet part out loud, because from where I'm standing, an opinion is, at its core, not objective. And let me make it extra clear right now. I'm only talking about opinions with reference to film criticism. Obviously in the real world, there's some opinions that are just straight up criminal. So, purely sticking to movies with the objective versus subjective debate, saying the sun rises in the east is objective. The existence of a movie or story is objective. What is not objective is whether or not that story is good or bad. That is entirely within the eye of the beholder. And I think a lot of people miss how to judge something objectively and subjectively. If you're judging a piece of media based on how it's made or the principles of writing/filmmaking, then you need to admit that you're judging it based on those quote-unquote objective rules created by humans and thus has a subjective foundation. And even then, the best you could do with this method is judge the production of how the art was made, but that still leaves its actual quality up for discussion. I remember back in school, a film college friend of mine said they actually go to their way to watch intentionally bad movies for the fun of it. That is, movies that fail to meet the requirements of what it takes to make a good movie. While again, we could have had a whole argument on what makes a movie good or not, at least she specified what criteria she was judging them on, which is something the internet doesn't do, cause they just love rage baiting. I would show you the viewer count on this video, but I also don't want to give this channel any more attention than it deserves. And that's the thing also with rage baiting. A lot of these channels do it disingenuously just to gain attention and clicks. So half the time, they're not even being genuine in their film criticism. How can you trust them when they say they're viewing the movie or reviewing it from an objective standpoint? They're making those kind of videos to get your money. Of course, not every film reviewer is like that. There's some YouTubers out there who know how to genuinely review a movie, though the ones who do it from a rage bait standpoint are pretty easy to see through. But anyway, getting back on topic, the closest I personally could get to judging something objectively would be to discuss the movie in its most granular form. For example, Arthur's character in Joker 2, or maybe the animation in Spider-Verse, as those either fail or surpass the fundamental story rules they're supposed to fill. Rules that were created by people, by the way, so I'm judging it objectively based on subjective rules. And even then, I don't think this is a great method, as in my opinion, in order to say something is objectively good or bad, you need to know most, if not everything it takes to make a movie to claim that, which would mean that you need to have either attended film school, watch almost every movie to ever exist, be in the film industry itself, or be well educated through other means, which, surprise, surprise, most audiences, grifters, and rage baiters are not. And given the horrible media literacy of some absolutely embarrassing critics, again, like the critical liver failure drinker, I wouldn't trust them. But even putting that argument under the guillotine again, these rules of film were made by subjective humans with subjective tastes. So in the end, the points I raised up are kinda oxymorons, wouldn't you say? Not to mention, on top of all of that, not all movies are created equal, guys. The Godfather is not going to film the same role as Chicken Run, nor should it. Trying to rope all films under one umbrella of being good or bad is incredibly restrictive and counterproductive to the creative behemoth that is supposed to be art. You can judge them on how well you think they fit in their specific genres, for example, but that doesn't capture the full scope of the film itself. Entertainment is meant to evoke feeling. When I see or review a movie I didn't like, I'd say I thought it was a bad film, but if someone else saw the same movie and it changed their life, who am I to say it or them are wrong for that impact? Clearly, it did something right. It just wasn't for me, nor was it a style that I personally was comfortable with, and that's okay. And before y'all come in here saying, Phoenix, it's okay to like stuff most don't, you don't need to rant cause your fifis were hurt, I'd also like to point out that this argument applies to other media that people love. I've watched shows I'm lukewarm on for different reasons, but most people absolutely eat up. Does that mean I'm objectively wrong?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
One last argument I'd like to leave you all with is a point that I think fully proves that all art is subjective. And that is that bad movies exist. Now, I know that sounds strange given the whole rant I've been going on, but just think about it for a second. I've been to film school, and I've seen some scripts that I was less than impressed with get greenlit. If we truly had an objective method of judging what makes a film good by all factual standards, would there no bad movies ever get made? Sure, a mediocre sequel might get pushed through because of money by the big studios, but if we're talking about all art media in general, don't you think we'd be living in a world with a tiny number of bad films and way less video essays? The fact that bad movies are still being made to this day means that someone somewhere out there liked the script enough to greenlight it and share it with others. Every movie is someone's favorite film, and believe it or not, most bad films don't exist by accident. If that ain't subjective, I don't know what is. So yeah, that's the rant. It's more disjointed than most, but the bottom line is, let people enjoy or dislike what they want, even if you disagree without being snarky about it. Yes, let people think The Room is better than Citizen Kane or whatever else is considered high cinema. You can have discussions and arguments about media, obviously, but pretending one's word is law is so dumb to me and will especially not be tolerated on this channel. I'm trying to build a community of free thinkers and conversationalists. Anyone caught shoving their beliefs down someone else's throat will be dealt with personally by me. TLDR, practice saying more I did or didn't enjoy it unless it was the best or worst thing ever made. You can of course explain why you think something is amazing or awful, but imposing that same thought on others is beyond immature. And to show how serious I'm being, I'm going to change the title of every review I've made that had an objective tone to it, starting with my Finding Nemo one. The title of that video was obviously a joke and me using hyperbole, but I really do need to get this message across to the film community if we're going to bring back any sort of civil discussion again. And that is one of the primary reasons why I would hate to be referred to as a cinephile. The word cinephile makes a disgusting definition and picture in my mind. I don't want to be known as a stuck-up, snobby, sophisticated a-hole who makes fun of people for not having a deep knowledge or list of movies they've seen, but can't be bothered with self-reflection because my opinions are always right. I just want to have fun and welcome people into the world of movies that I love so much. Anyways, what do you guys think about this topic? I know I've definitely angered some people because I've certainly met my own fair share of these folks in my comment sections, but what do you think? What are your thoughts on this topic and the idea of something being objectively good or bad? Leave your comments down below and let's have a respectful conversation. But as of now guys, that will be all from me today. Thank you so very much for watching. Be sure to like if you like, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that notification bell to be part of the team, leave a comment down below, slap a cow, and with that I will see you in another universe. Goodbye my Rangers, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. It's an important one close to me.